Make way, here comes a bunch of young guns.
Johnson, alley-oop.
Oh! Shot is blocked by Mourning.
The Charlotte Hornets were the thing.
If you were not at a Charlotte Hornets game, you were missing out on something.
It's a three-pointer. The Hornets win.
It's over.
We had Rex Chapman, Kendall Gill, Del Curry.
It was different personalities, top to bottom.
Of course, Larry Johnson, Grandmama, Alonzo Mourning, Muggsy Bogues.
We had national appeal.
But it was something unique about the purple and teal.
It was in to be a Hornet fan.
That team really changed everything for small market teams.
North Carolina is probably better known for stock cars and college basketball, but today pro basketball takes center stage as Charlotte enters a new era.
And so Charlotte and Miami will join the NBA fray for the 1988-89 season.
Honestly, I did not know where Charlotte was. Where is that? Is that West Virginia? Is that Charlottesville? Or no, it's North Carolina. Oh, okay.
North Carolinians knew basketball, but they didn't really know the NBA.
This was our first major league team.
I hadn't seen Charlotte, didn't know much about Charlotte other than it was a lot warmer than Detroit.
It is a celebration of a dream that's turned into a reality.
I think it'll work. I don't think I'm convinced it will. And the fact that we've had 13,700 people to buy specific seats tells me that it's going to work.
These people, who I always thought were college fans, seem to be really turned on about this team.
They are. This is the first major league thing to happen to the city of Charlotte and to the state of North Carolina.
I think there were a lot of guys, whether you were a draft pick, a free agent, or you were involved in the expansion draft, that guys wanted to prove something. And I think we ended up with a good group of guys. Our problem was we just weren't very talented.
Like this. There's the overview of the Charlotte Coliseum. It is the largest arena now in the NBA, 23,500 fans.
You know, and the place was hyped up. They were excited. And we didn't know exactly what to expect because this is more of a college type of town.
All right, let's take a look at Tyrone Muggsy Bogues from Wake Forest.
And when we walked in, didn't even know that the thing that they had going on that night, that everybody was going to come in with tuxedos and the ladies were going to have their gowns on, just to see that type of atmosphere.
It's basketball time at Charlotte, North Carolina.
My teammates, maybe a little butterflies, a little nervous to go out for the first time as a Charlotte Hornet expansion team playing the first game.
You know, we played a very good Cleveland team with Brad Daugherty and Mark Price and Larry Nance. Way before LeBron and those guys.
Steal by Harper, Reed chasing.
We're getting blown out, and I'm thinking this is not good. You know, if they start clapping for the other team after we lose, that's going to be a problem.
Some of the folks are heading for the exits.
But as we walking out of off the court, the crowd just stood up and gave us a standing ovation.
The Charlotte fans give their team a standing O, and that's great. The Cavaliers win it by 40.
These people came here and paid good money to come watch us play, and they're staying behind us. If we can ever get this noise and this crowd and become a home court advantage, establish that home court advantage, it could be something special here.
Well, here's the guy generally regarded as the best player in basketball history, coming back to his home state. It's Christmas time, the atmosphere was there.
For the Bulls game, there wasn't a ticket to be had. And I remember our teammates saying, with Michael's first game back in North Carolina, let's don't let him get 60 on us, okay? Let's try to keep the game close.
Jordan off to the right, shoots it up right at the key, right through. Michael Jordan's got 29, and the game is tied at 97. Hands to Tripucka, his three-pointer out front, good! Charlotte leads by 3 with 1:50 remaining. Jordan on the drive, all the way from the left, lays it in, and the game is tied. This Charlotte club, top here at home.
This crowd gives them really something.
Some things rolled the Hornets' way in the second half, and now we get down to the final moment, and then that place was a lot.
Cross court to Reed, 20-footer blocked by Jordan, tip Rambis, no. Rebound battle, Rambis lays it in, and Charlotte wins the game.
It was like we won the championship.
It was probably the only good thing I'd done the entire ball game.
Everyone was coming to watch Michael. So it was a really cool win for us. Are you kidding me? We didn't have many of those.
The stadium went crazy. The fans went crazy.
Organized chaos for a play like that, to beat a team like that.
That kind of was the pinnacle as far as putting Charlotte on the map. That gave Charlotte, not only the Hornets, but Charlotte an identity. Because they beat the Mighty Bulls on national TV, everybody saw that.
It catapulted that whole consecutive sellout environment for the Charlotte Hornets.
I thought it made it official. The Hornets are officially here. They're going to lose most nights. They can officially compete. Watch.
It took 82 games to try to figure it out. And maybe we all got it figured out at the end after that first year, because maybe that's why they threw us a ticker tape parade. I don't know.
It is. We had a season where we won 20 games, and we had a parade at the end of the season. And so it was a special time for the city of Charlotte.
It was an unusual moment that set Charlotte apart.
It was Charlotte's way of telling these people, we know you're not good yet, but we want you to know we have your back. And that was a cool thing at the time.
That team had a lot of different people on it who were at different points in their career.
You know, it was an eminently likable team full of oversized personalities. And you could not have had better ambassadors for the sport in Charlotte.
The Charlotte Hornets and the Miami Heat participated in the expansion draft, selecting 23 players, one from each NBA team.
That team had a lot of different people on it who were at different points in their career.
They collected them. They collected those players.
A bunch of us guys just came from programs that, as Coach Dick Harder said, nobody wanted anymore.
You know, it was an eminently likable team full of oversized personalities, and you could not have had better ambassadors for the sport in Charlotte.
There you go. Welcome to Uptown Charlotte. Here it is.
You tell me a guy 5'3" can have that much impact on a game, not only on the game, but listen to the crowd. He's got them excited and on their feet here in Charlotte.
There was never been a player in the NBA who was 5'3".
Muggs was the heart and soul of our team, because you look at a guy that come in and because of his stature, they think it was a minus for him.
Here comes Bogues. Oh, I never saw it coming. Muggsy Bogues, he got it. He feels it.
He's a 5'3" Jason Kidd.
People gravitated towards Muggsy because he was small, you know, and traditionally speaking, basketball players were tall and they stood out. Muggsy blended right on in.
I never considered myself an underdog. Probably others have. You know, for me, it was just playing a game of basketball.
Del Curry from the Cleveland Cavaliers.
Del will always have a place. He's one of the best shooters I've ever seen.
Del Curry, one of the best shooters, you know, and actually he produced something that was better than him. And Steph Curry.
We were the only show in town back then. Made a couple of threes, a nice little DC for three chance that sticks in your mind.
Del was that guy. When that play broke down, we all knew we had to find Del because he could get a shot off against anybody.
Next up, for the first draft ever in the history of that franchise, the Charlotte Hornets.
I knew I was probably going to go between 5 and 9, somewhere in there. I'd visited all of those teams from 5 to 9 except for Charlotte.
Rex Chapman of Kentucky.
Well, Bob, there are 12 players on the Charlotte Hornets. 8 of them now are guards. One of them is sitting with me, Del Curry. Del, your reaction to the selection of Rex Chapman today?
You have to remember that a franchise isn't going to be made in 1 year. It's going to take 3, 4, 5 years. So you have to be able to deal with that.
Okay, best of luck to you, Del.
I was sitting on stage when I heard that the Hornets were drafting Rex Chapman. I went, I'm the 2 guard. What do you mean drafting Rex Chapman? But once I met Rex, we formed a friendship right away.
He could play, you know, and back then, Rex was jumping like the brother.
Off the bounce, the reverse jam, Rex Chapman.
Kendall Gills, he was 6'5", but he played a lot bigger than that.
Gill, power dunk with the left hand.
Him and Del Curry was the guys who can come off a pick and change the game. Nothing but a pure shooter.
They're the number 1 pick, so here's the best player on this great team.
Great college career, tremendous amount of hoopla coming in. And
it has been the Larry Johnson Show.
We laid the foundation, you know, myself, Muggs, Del, Johnny Newman, but you had to get all-star caliber players. And LJ was our first all-star caliber player.
So what are you going to do for the Charlotte Hornets? Well, I'm going to go in. I'm gonna basically offer the Charlotte Hornets that I offered, the previous teams I played on. Hard work. I'm I'm going in doing whatever the coach asked me to do, whatever my teammates need me to do, and just try to win.
Best player I've ever played with, high school, college, or pro. I saw Larry Johnson just take every big man to school.
And here's Larry Johnson.
The guy who was 250 pounds, 6'7", had the grace of a ballerina, could shoot it, had the strength of Shaquille O'Neal, and he knew when to use it.
This is where it's done. This is the gym. Barkley.
Then you take that and you add his personality to it.
No pain, no gain. Malone. I had to work on the guns right here.
He was one of my favorite guys to watch in high school. He's a good-looking dude, solid.
Cummings. I'm looking at myself in the mirror. Of course, you gotta have that.
Golden Glove boxer, really, really tough in them streets.
You gotta have the toughness. Ain't nobody tougher than me.
And to come in here, make the team relevant pretty quickly, be Rookie of the Year, it kind of justified the franchise in general and their decision to make him the #1 pick.
Then the following year, Alonzo Mourning came in. So now you had some young, recognizable names, guys who've had success in the postseason. People knew all over the country. And most importantly, people in the state of North Carolina knew.
You gotta love the way Alonzo Mourning plays the game.
Alonzo was so intense.
One of the most fierce competitors out there.
He checked it again by Mourning. Did you see that play?
You can build a race car, but if it don't have an engine, you ain't going nowhere. Zoe was that engine.
Look at him drive! Alonzo Mourning!
At 6'10", he was tall, but he wasn't really big for a center. But he can do all those things, and he compensated for it with his hard work.
That's one of the greatest shot blocks I've ever seen.
I was a young kid on the block out of Georgetown. I brought a lot of aggression and, and defense and block shots with the high top fade. That was kind of the pop culture back then, It created a lot of charisma that people gravitated to.
So now you add those really young, players with great potential to a group that had already been pretty solid, a lot of veterans. It just was a recipe for some excitement.
Grandmama! Let's go.
Converse had the big promotion of Grandmama, and everywhere we went, people would have the #2 jersey on.
You ready for this? You ready?
I thought it was kind of funny to begin with that, where have you ever heard of this before, that you have a uniform reveal? I ate it up and did what I was supposed to do and acted like a model.
I hated him. Kelly might have liked him, but Kelly was weird.
We knew about the lengths they went to with Alexander Julian, and everybody had heard of him, and we knew of him. And they said, boy, they're really pulling out all the straws here to get a designer to do the uniforms.
George asked me, he said, Alec, can we afford you? I said, what good is money if you can't buy Carolina barbecue? Here's the deal. I'll design the uniforms for you for 5 pounds of Carolina barbecue a month to be FedEx to me in Connecticut.
I put out a picture on Twitter of that original Alexander Julian with the pleats. They had pleats in them. We hated them.
We're going to get laughed at throughout the league.
So we had to get used to, okay, well, this is a little different.
But they actually look better on than we thought.
And then that ugly shooting shirt we had, the stripes. And I have more people that ask me about, do you still have that thing? Because I would love to have it. They think it's really cool. I guess it kind of is now.
They've got their own identity. The marketing is unbelievable. One of the top logos in the NBA in terms of hat sales and T-shirt, jacket.
Back then, starter jackets were hot.
Rap was starting to take off, and all that stuff was really becoming popular.
And so you saw a lot of young people wearing the purple and teal.
Whenever we went on the road, I can tell you this, we saw so much Charlotte Hornet gear.
I think our game kind of brought some excitement to the team where it made that color a fashion statement. It really did.
it was in to be a Hornet fan. You had the uniforms and the colors and Hugo the Hornet.
And that insignia was not like this happy, flying around Hornet. I mean, this is a tough Hornet, you know. This is like an insect. Other insects didn't want to mess with.
George called me and said, we got a name. It's the Charlotte Hornets, and it's named after the Revolutionary War. The English generals saying, watch out for those boys. And around Charlotte, it's a hornet's nest. And Jim Henson, who created the Muppets, his daughter Cheryl was a friend of mine. I got Cheryl Henson to come into the picture, and the first Hugo was actually made at the Muppet Studio.
I think I was really proud to be doing this project on my own, that it was not a Jim Henson Company project, but I feel like my father was very supportive of my doing it. The opening game, the fans were pumped for anything. And then Hugo comes out and he's dancing and he's like, choo, 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 and he's egging the fans on.
Hugo, loved him. Loved him from the very, very first day we saw Hugo.
Yeah! That's it. Too many people out here being intense, though.
Right. To Johnson at the buzzer. Hornets win it! Hornets have defeated the Seattle Supersonics on Larry Johnson's last second. Unbelievable!
During our years of playing, we became an international brand.
Converse had the big promotion of Grandmama, and everywhere we went, people would have the number 2 jersey on.
Grandmama! Let's go.
The Grandmama commercials, brought a lot of attention to our team. Converse was a very popular shoe back then,
And LJ was the type of tough player. We knew the Grandmama wasn't going to phase how the opponents looked at him or how he played.
You didn't find too many males putting on a dress, especially, in the game of basketball, but he was more secure with himself.
He had the right smile. He had the right demeanor. He sold the brand.
Grandmama persona, that just blew him up even more.
He was the first NBA guy with a commercial, living and playing, in the state of North Carolina. It was a big deal.
Remember, you can't beat what you can't catch.
Well, we was building up to this. This was our 5th year in existence. We came in '88. Each year we had draft picks, and each year we try to keep getting better.
I saw my jersey, Larry, Muggsy. We had a mural downtown of ourselves.
Big play by Alonzo Mourning.
That's got to be on every highlight show there is.
No pun intended. The town was a buzz.
And Johnson will lead another break. And it went down somehow.
Now fans not only had a reason to go just because it was a social event, they had a reason to go because they thought they were going to win the ball game.
We were smart. That was one of the highest IQ teams that I've been on. Everybody kind of knew how to play the game.
It just worked, and you'd watch it game after game, week after week, and think, man, these guys have something, and they did.
Here goes Rodman. Blocked by Mourning.
Well, we was building up to this. This was our 5th year in existence. We came in '88. Each year we had draft picks, and each year we try to keep getting better.
Kill him, Mama, kill him.
The most successful franchise in NBA history, squaring off against a Charlotte Hornet team who's in the playoffs for the first time ever.
You can't get more exciting than the series with the Boston Celtics.
We knew we matched up well with them. We weren't afraid at all. We knew we'd have to play well. They had future Hall of Famers on their team.
And that was the year that, first year with All Larry, that I had played with All Larry in the NBA.
Teal on a post-up move. This is what he's so good at, his long arms.
This Boston show respect to that veteran team, Parrish and McHale.
And Boston will take a 1-game-to-none lead in this best-of-5 series. I don't like that, taking that last 3 like that. I'd like to walk off the floor. You've won the game. It gives Alan Bristow something to say to his guys, or they want to stick another 3 on us here.
112 to 101.
We need to stop them from executing their half-court offense. That's the one thing we need to do because that's basically all they have.
3 on the shot clock. Here's Bogues. Yes! Oh, what a shot! McHale fires. Yes! And we go to a second overtime.
Longest game I've ever played in my life.
And in double overtime, the Charlotte Hornets with their first ever playoff victory.
2 teams in overtime combined for 3 points. We scored 2.
Getting the one game that we got there really gave us the confidence that we needed.
The place is electric with emotion. The first ever playoff game here in Charlotte.
If we win Game 3, we're 1 win away.
The Hornets win Game 3, leading the series 2 games to 1. And they beat the Celtics 119-89.
Coach kept telling us, the guys, we cannot win this series by just winning this ball game. To win this series, we got to win 3 ball games, and we got to come out and play just as hard as we did tonight.
The Hornets get a steal right off the break with Kendall Gill.
It was a very tough, hard-fought game.
Blocked by Mourning. He stayed with it. Mourning.
We got a decent lead, maybe 8 to 10 points at halftime, but Boston came back in the second half.
Come on, gang. We're going to win this game. We're going to win the game. You got to believe you're going to win it. Let's go, baby. We can do it. Come on, Joe.
I don't think that the play was for Alonzo.
103-102, Boston.
One ball fake, and I'm like, there's a Chief, and Zoe's not around. I looked, and there was Zoe wide open.
Here's Mourning.
They threw me the ball. The rest was history.
The shot. Game over.
You think the game is gone. Think it's done. And one of the officials sat there and said, no.
There's 4/10 of a second left.
Man, I thought that we won the game. I thought it was over. Now this gives Boston another chance.
And Teal to the rim.
And I really wanted to play one more game in the Boston Garden, or more games in the Boston Garden. But it wasn't meant to be, I guess. I really thought we had him. Alonzo made a big-time shot. He's going to be a hell of a player.
That crowd that night, I think, truly helped catapult us to our first playoff series win in franchise history.
That was a big step for us. A new franchise, going through the growing pains of the initial years.
We won that series against Boston. We knew that we belonged.
Just because it's a small market doesn't mean you don't get attention. Winning gets the attention.
We were right there. We were really growing. Everybody on our team was young. We were getting better.
The ultimate goal was to one day get to an NBA Finals, and never materialized.
I wish we could have stayed together, but you know how it is, contractual-wise.
We had a very young core, and if you would have added a couple other pieces, we would have been a team to reckon with in the East for years to come.
I often sit there and I think about, what we'd be talking about now. Would they have ever left Charlotte and gone to New Orleans? That's seriously in question if you were able to keep that franchise together.
It had a very good impact on the NBA by being in the small market and by being successful, selling out for 9 years straight with 24,000 and having 10,000 on a waiting list. It set a precedent.